Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So new Game of Thrones Season 7 cast was announced. I have a couple ideas about who it might be, so just careful for spoilers for everything that's happened so far. So based on some of the casting descriptions that the Watchers people found out a couple weeks ago, there are 3 really solid picks of who he could be playing. Now, I do think that he's playing someone inside the Citadel, just because he's a very bookish person. He tends to play characters like that. Like, think Professor Slughorn from Harry Potter. Like, where would that, that type of character actor fit into the Game of Thrones world? Now, they don't always play the same types of characters, but it's not like he's a warrior, and one of the people in the casting descriptions is meant to be a general, then there's a priest, and then there's a merchant. Now, the merchant sounds like it's a one-off person that runs into Daenerys' people as she's sailing around, but the priest might just be a mask for a maester that they're trying to cast inside the Citadel, because if you didn't know what a maester was, you didn't know what that term meant, and you just saw someone like that walking around in robes, you would think that they're a priest. So that might be a ruse to cast someone inside the Citadel for Samwell's storyline. Now, Maester Marwyn is a really important character given what they need to do on the show, like the things that Samwell needs to learn about in the characters that they have not cast yet. But they did say that whoever Jim Broadbent is playing, it's a very, very significant role. So even though he's not meant to appear in every single episode, it's still a very important role in the context of the show, which is why I think Maester Marwyn is a really solid pick. So if you don't know who Marwyn is, he's one of the few people inside the Citadel. He's an archmaester. He's not just a maester, he's an archmaester. So he sits on what you would think of as the ruling council of the Citadel. But the problem is his area of study is the occult, dragons, all the really cool stuff, magic. And the other maesters really do not like that. He's called Marwyn the Mage, and they call him that as a slight. They try to ostracize him. He spends most of his time hanging out closer to the harbor, and eventually in the books runs into Samwell, where Samwell explains what's going on, and then Marwyn decides, I'm going to go help Daenerys. He wants to go become Daenerys' maester in the books. Now remember, the TV show has diverged dramatically from what's happening in the books, but the thing is that Marwyn, in his time as a maester, traveled the world, learned all about warlocks, shadowbinders, dragons. He went to the Far East where Melisandre is from. He's been all over the world, including the place where Daenerys' dragon eggs came from. So he's just this incredible source of information for stuff that we need to learn on the show. We need to learn how to fight White Walkers. We need more context for the War for the Dawn, even though Bran is learning a lot about this because he's the new Three-Eyed Raven. Samwell is the other side of the equation. He might learn how to forge Valyrian steel. He might be the one to have the idea to use Dragonstone and all the dragon glass there to arm against the White Walkers. So there's just a bunch of really complex, really cool information that the show needs to convey, and this new Jim Broadbent character is a good opportunity for that to happen inside the Citadel. Like, oh, Samwell, you want to learn about this? Well, these are all these books over here. This is where you need to be looking. Or even if he's not Marwyn, he could just be a foil for Samwell's character inside the Citadel that helps Samwell come to conclusions in a roundabout way. Now, we don't really know how much Samwell we're going to get. There's only going to be about 7 episodes, so I would expect like an equal amount of Samwell that we got in Season 6, which means very little, but it's still very important. And the funny thing, like usually this doesn't matter, but I will say Jim Broadbent does physically resemble Maester Marwyn's description in the books. He has this thick neck, strong jaw. He's really short, squat. He's almost like an older version of Samwell that's not quite so heavy. So does that not look like Jim Broadbent? Like he could totally pull that off. The old professor inside the Citadel that helps Samwell learn all the cool things that he needs to know about the occult to help them fight the White Walkers. But let me know in the comments, who do you think that Jim Broadbent is playing? If you know the types of roles that he typically gets cast in, think about the different storylines that we're going to have. We have the battle for King's Landing, so we have like Daenerys, Cersei stuff that's going on. We have Jon Snow up in the north. Then we have Samwell at the Citadel. So just looking over the casting descriptions, like all the people that he could possibly be, each of the characters calls for a high-born British accent. So that means he's a noble or he's very learned. He's not going to be like a peasant that you would bump into in Flea Bottom. So that's why I think it's a pretty safe bet that he's going to show up inside the Citadel and he'll be the TV show's version of Maester Marwyn. Now, remember, the TV show is very different from the books, so even if he doesn't have Marwyn's name, I think he'll be doing some of the things that Marwyn does in the books. So it'll be, rampant Easter eggs for the Citadel in the books. But congratulations to this week's giveaway winner. Doombox, you win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There is a new round that starts now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. They did just start shooting Season 7 now, so I would expect more casting announcements like this to roll out throughout the rest of the year. So hopefully we'll find out about some of the other really big characters. There are a couple other big ones, but right now they're not sounding like too many book characters, so just remains to be seen. But what's going to happen next is I'm working on a Justice League Deathstroke video. The rumor is that Joe Manganiello is going to be playing him in the movie, but there are a couple other big actors that I think could pull it off, so that video we'll post next. While you wait for that to post, you can click here to learn how Cersei's doing exactly the same things that an ancient Targaryen king used to do, and you can click here for the Season 7 teaser trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.